Oh, Jake, is it a good time to talk about the Artemis program?
I guess so. Yeah, sounds like there's some news, so it's top of everyone's minds this
Everybody's
week.
talking about it, so we figured, we'll talk about at least a piece of it. In what is got to be in the rankings, one of the coolest backgrounds we've had on the show here, on the guest side of things,
Yeah.
on any side of the thing.
Yeah, we're going to
honestly.
spend a significant amount of this interview talking about what's behind you, right? Thinking.
I appreciate that, guys.
We got Justin Cyrus, CEO and founder, right, of Lunar Outpost.
That is correct. CEO and founder of Lunar Outpost.
Builder of Legos.
Builder of Lego. That is my favorite title. If you look on my personal website, it's literally like number 3 after landed a rover on the moon. It's like Lego designer.
I mean, you got product placement. I'm going to take him in the wide shot here, Jake. Look at that.
Yes.
Ow. And just to give the shout out to it. Oh, wrong shoulder. There we go. It's at Target. It's at Walmart. Definitely at the Lego store. And it is a really fun build. One of the coolest things that we did with that product, we actually went down to Houston, and I grew up right outside of Johnson Space Center, and we gave away, I think, 100 of these Lego sets to kids in the Houston area, and just to see that excitement and that engagement. Happy to talk about it more, but that's one of my favorite points of being a space founder up till now.
It's pretty
Convince
rad.
us to not talk about Legos on this show, Justin. Come on.
Yeah. I would probably do the exact same thing if I were you. I would have that very high up on my resume of like life accomplishments. Unreasonably high, yeah.
No, even in our pitch deck that goes out to investors, I promise you guys, it's right there at number 3. And it's like, it's fun. I mean, who doesn't love Lego? And I think a lot of us in the space industry built Lego when we were kids and were inspired by what you could build in the Lego space sets.
Yeah.
I'm getting so distracted looking at your background because I'm like looking at all these individual pieces back there.
There's my.
Do you want me to give you the rundown? Jake and Anthony, you want me to give you the quick rundown what you're looking at?
Yeah.
So you're in the Lunar Outpost Mission Control Center. So this is where we ran Lunar Voyage 1 from. It's quite a bit smaller than the historical NASA Mission Control Centers. We only staff about 6 people per mission, and we run about 3 sets of people per day. So this is built not only to look cool, but to be functional. So the lights that you see above me actually change depending on what's going on in the mission. So if something's off-nominal, then it will change to a orange or reddish color depending on what is going on. If the rover is operating autonomously, it'll change to this purple you'll see behind me, or if it's in teleop mode, it will go to blue. But it's just a really nice subtle light cue for all of our operators to be on the same page, like what's the status of the rover.
Did they like alert mode? Because that feels stressful right out the gate. Like red lights while you're trying to debug something. Like you're amping up the level of anxiety, I feel like.
No one likes alert mode, but it's good. I mean, don't get me wrong. You don't want the lights changing rapidly, right? Like the last thing you want is like flashing red like you see in the sci-fi movies. Like no one would enjoy that. That will not help you problem solve. Absolutely not. But if it's like a subtle cue that changes over time, it seems to be a good way to keep the team on the same page.
That's an interesting feature. Does anyone else do that? That feels unique.
I haven't seen anyone else do that.
Starship Enterprise does that,
yeah. Starship Enterprise. That's true. I can't argue with that one. One other fun feature on the Mission Control Center is these screens you see behind me. So a lot of Mission Control Centers, you basically see like the normal office screens. It'll look like what you have at your house or what you have at the office. They're really quite boring. But these are quite a bit different. So these are 240 hertz OLED monitors. And the reason you actually need that in a rover mission control center that's moving at a high pace, it's very hard to distinguish details on the lunar surface. So you need to get as fast a refresh rate as you possibly can, and to have that kind of really deep black contrast, so you can identify rocks or you can identify craters as an operator earlier. And then obviously the rover does that autonomously as well. But that's just, it helps the humans see things a bit better out in the space. So we have not yet had a gaming session in here, but we have I think our Q2 company event is going to be a Halo tournament, a Halo 2 tournament on these screens, which we're pretty excited about.
That's awesome.
That's rad. That's
I
really
never would
good.
think of that as like a good feature for the mission control, but it does make a lot of sense. That's
Yeah.
it
Moonlighting
almost
is
honestly
wild,
though it
right?
does
Like, it's
it does
insane.
kind of sound like bullshit. Like that's actually going to make a difference, but I do believe that it's a cool feature.
You're just padding the
Yeah,
PowerPoint
it's-
deck again. Yeah.
No, come out. It's you can actually drive one of the a couple of the LTV prototypes from this room as well. So it doesn't matter, Anthony, at all when you're going like 1 centimeter per second. And historically, rovers average about 3 centimeters per second. If you're looking at the Mars rovers, they average a little bit slower than that. If you're looking all the way back to like the Russian Lunokhod rovers, but when you're traveling like 15 kilometers per hour on the lunar surface, that's when those details start to matter. And we've never had a vehicle that can travel that fast on another planetary body and basically live stream back to Earth. So that's why you haven't seen these in mission control centers in the past.
They're not out there pulling a John Young, just laying the throttle open on the lunar surface. Yeah.
No, we definitely have to like speed cap the rovers for LTV. NASA probably doesn't want us going faster than 20 kilometers per hour.
What? Just more government regulation, hey? Jeez, eh?
I mean, at that point, you're catching
We got
air,
speed
man.
limits out
Like-
there. I mean, jeez.
Yeah, I thought the
wow.
moon was supposed to be free, right? It's
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
Mare, it's like Arizona, though. You can the speed limit goes up quite a bit on the nice flat open lava fields. You know.
Definitely, you can go a lot faster in those nice wide open lava fields towards the lunar South Pole with all the craters and rocks and boulders. I think NASA's probably right on this one. You probably don't want to hit a crater and catch vacuum on the moon. You know, it's probably want to keep all four wheels on the ground.
It makes me realize that,
It's
like,
ideal. It's ideal.
you know, 100 years from now, there's gonna be people that live at the South Pole that are like bitching about, you know, these drivers. They come in from Mare Tranquillatus and they just are terrible. They don't know how to drive down here. They're catching air. They're bouncing into everybody's habitats. There's gonna be some interregional driving strife that everybody always has.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, just like here in Colorado, we always complain about the Californians. Like, you Californians don't know how to drive, and especially in the winter. And you come out here, and don't get me wrong, it's a lot of my teams from California. We always give them grief, but I think you're right. That interregional tension, interregional dynamic, that might exist. I'm hoping it exists more on like the sports side of things. What I'd love to see is like the long jump on. You guys watch the Winter Olympics?
Oh boy, do we! Yeah, it's
He
a
does.
topic on this show.
Yeah.
We got
Awesome.
You got an American and a Canadian that have been having some tough times lately through the Olympics, but
USA.
yeah, we
USA.
did it. We did it,
USA.
folks.
We did it. What an overtime goal. But the point I was trying to get to is the ski jumpers. Can you imagine ski jumping on the moon? Like if someone had 1/6 gravity ski jumping in an Olympics, like Lunar Olympics instead of Summer or Winter Olympics 100 years from now, it'd just be a blast. It'd be so much
shit.
fun.
That's a wild one.
It'd be it'd be like a 2 kilometer ski jump. It would be like one.
Yeah, you're in orbit.
Yeah. Low lunar orbit ski jump. Yeah.
That's such a better vision for, all these people are always like, we're going to do orbital sports and we're going to, commission this habitat on the ISS and do some sporting thing. And you've now blown my mind and made me expand it a lot further and say, like, what about the entire Olympics on the moon? That's going to be solid stuff.
Dude, lunar sports would be an absolute blast to watch. I mean, orbital it'd be cool. Don't get me wrong, some like orbital sports, but I think it's almost more fun if you have gravity. It's just like different gravity regimes. I think that makes it more dynamic. So Lunar Olympics, 100 years from now, I think it's said first on this podcast. So I
We're
think
doing
it's
the
going to
torch
happen.
lighting, obviously, because we'll still be alive. So we're going to be doing the torch
Perfect.
handoff for sure. Anyway,
Awesome.
we skipped over a big part of the show, Jake. Did you make a drink over there?
I did, yeah.
Did you make a mead?
No, my wife found something for me at a craft fair. So this is pretty wild stuff. I opened it this week. This is, I don't know if you can read it. So Crema de Mezcal, La Hacienda is the brand. So it's pina colada with mezcal mixed in. It's like a cream liqueur. I don't know if you can see
You
how
bought it at a
creamy
craft fair? What?
at a craft fair. Yeah.
All right.
So I poured a little bit just over ice. It's like, it's very mild. It's like 5% alcohol, but it's like kind of sweet. You'd hate it, Anthony. It's like, it tastes like bubble gum, but you know, it's good.
I made a gin and tonic, but I'm getting a home renovation done right now, Justin, and I was walking from the finished part of my house through the construction zone, and I tripped on a piece of wood, and I spilled all of my ice, and I was too close to the show to go back and get more, so I just have an iceless gin and tonic at the moment. So I just went. Which kind of screwed up my ratios, so this is quite strong, but I feel like it's going to be all right.
That's part of the fun.
Justin, are you allowed to have drinks in that room, or are the monitors too expensive?
Not in mission control.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to have drinks in mission control. But I do have Bing. So just a quick shout out to Bing. One of our finance guys, his parents, this is Bing Green Apple. It is delicious, absolutely delicious. One of our finance guys, his parents actually own an energy drink company. And so going into mission control, and especially when you have to wake up at like 3 a.m., wake up in the middle of the night, we would just go straight for Bing. So I felt like it was appropriate given the background. It's kind of like the official drink.
The only thing you can
Mission
drink in there.
Center.
Yeah. See, that and the lights, though, it's like a rave when you guys are in ops, you know?
Not quite. But it's our team.
No wonder you're driving so fast. Less energy drinks, you know? Like
less energy
Tone it down.
Back to water, yeah. You know what, man? It's not as bad as those Celsius. I don't know if you guys have had those Celsius. It's like 4 coffees. I have one of those, and like you get just jittery.
I've never tried it, and apparently never will. You've now dissuaded me from ever trying that.
Yeah, I love Red Bull. Red Bull's fantastic. Bing. I just like Green Apple. Good flavor profile. So not having quite as much fun as you guys, but still having fun.
All right.
You know, you're the one with Legos behind you and really cool gaming displays, and also you make lunar rovers. So I feel like you're doing all right out there.
Yeah, you got it.
We do.
Thanks,
we
Anthony.
should state up front too. The Schrodinger's moment we're in here, right? Where everybody expected an announcement of the LTV contract last year, I guess. Last fall was the expectation.
Yeah. Yep.
So there probably is stuff you can and can't say, and people out there can make it our fault that we didn't ask the question, but I know we have to be sensitive about it because it's technically still an open and ongoing contract round. Do we have any sense for, like, is now everything is up for debate in the Artemis roadmap, but does that also include the LTV, or are you guys still kind of tracking towards there's an announcement soon?
I mean, as far as what we've been told, and this is what I can share, there's an announcement soon. Granted, that's been the message since November of last year. So honestly, Anthony, Jake, I don't know much more than what you guys know, which is, obviously I'd love to learn more. I guess from the LTV perspective and like its criticality to the Artemis program, anything you want to do on the lunar surface requires mobility. Anything you want to do on the lunar surface requires robotics. So unless we're just going to land astronauts on the moon and they're going to pop their heads up like gophers and, kind of go back in, and that's going to be the entirety of the Artemis campaign, which like that'd be fine for like the first landing or maybe even the second landing. But eventually we want to actually build a habitat on the moon. Eventually we want to, and Jared has said this, the NASA administrator has said this, we want to build the infrastructure on the moon. Although I think what they were focused on over the course of the last couple months has been getting the launch piece of it correct. And I think my favorite quote from Jared, he had 2 talks in the last 2 weeks, which I was quite excited about. One of them was at A16Z's annual summit. They're a big venture capitalist out of Silicon Valley. And the other one was kind of the Artemis reconfiguration between 3, 4, and 5. And his 3, 4, and 5 quote was, "We are going to need lots of rovers, lots and lots of rovers on the moon." That's not exact quote. So, if it's one or two words off, please forgive me.
Paraphrased by the Lunar Outpost guy. Yeah, I get it. Okay.
It was lots and lots of
Outpost.
rovers, actually. You said it 3 times. Yeah.
Well, exactly.
I think it was
100%.
American rovers on American launch vehicles at American bases on the moon. It was his catchphrase.
Yeah, exactly. And then at A16C, he said something very similar. So he published that speech online. He said, we need LTV or LTV-like rovers. We're going to need many of them on the moon. And I couldn't agree more. So everything from the launch and landing pads we want to build, to the power, to the communications, to the habitats and infrastructure, all of that needs LTV. And that's what we've built our Eagle lunar terrain vehicle for. So if you look at our competitors' LTVs, and we can get into that a little bit more later, they're each very different architectures and each very different designs meant for different reasons. Ours, the Eagle, it's a space truck. It's meant to build the Artemis campaign. It's meant to build that long-term infrastructure on the surface of the moon while providing safe and reliable mobility for Artemis astronauts. And I love this clip as well, because that's actually at autonomously driving at night. And here behind me in the Mission Control Center, this is actually where we ran those operations from. So we not only built the prototype in phase 1, but we built the entire end-to-end stack in phase 1 before the preliminary design review. So we tested out the back end, we tested out the autonomy, we tested out a lot of the critical hardware along the way as well.
One thing I've been thinking about with this whole Artemis roadmap shuffling is that they're doubling down on the lunar surface in a way that they weren't previously. And last fall, there was a lot of talk, I think even, some space news articles and whatnot about, we don't know if they're going to have, a single winner out of this award or 2 winners like they were hoping originally. Because I think NASA openly stated originally they were hoping to get 2, but they didn't know exactly how the budget would shake out. It was same kind of situation we were in with the HLS award in the original day. So charitably, my best reading of this would be they're delaying this announcement because they know what the changes were that were coming, which is this doubling down on lunar surface and trying to make it so that there would be 2 awards coming out, which I feel like, you can tell me if you disagree as someone who would like to win the award, but I feel like most people in the industry are like 2 would be better given what we've seen historically with other crewed and uncrewed spaceflight programs out of NASA. But do you how did you feel going in? Like, was the 1 award thing good or bad news? What was the kind of Lunar Outpost take on that?
Yeah, it's a very good question, Anthony. And what it comes down to is, I think it's going to end up being 2 awards, mainly just because in the Senate reauthorization, NASA reauthorization, they're saying NASA should seek to obtain 2 LTVs. In the congressional CJS write-up, they said seek to award 2. Don't get me wrong, I just want to get going. For me, if there's 1 or 2, of course it'd be fantastic if we were the 1 awardee and all of NASA's money is going to us. My job as a CEO, I've done my job. But if there's 2, that's fine as well. At the end of the day, I don't mind competition. I thrive in competition. Our company thrives in competition. And I think we've put an architecture together that's more well-suited for commercialization on the surface of the moon than either of our competitors, and more well-suited to do that at scale. So if there are 2 awarded, that's fantastic. If there's 1 awarded, that's fantastic. All I care about is getting to work now, because in President Trump's executive order he put out in December, he said we need an outpost on the moon by 2030. And if we're going to put any outpost that, even if it's a first element, it should not be an outpost that just comes down on a lander. And obviously NASA is going to dictate this. NASA makes the decisions. I don't make the decisions. I'm a contractor. I do what they tell me to do, and I do it with a smile on my face, and I'll support what they want. But at the end of the day, I don't think we should have a habitat that comes down on a lander. I think that would be very limiting in terms of scope of what we can actually accomplish on the lunar surface. So if we are going to make that 2030 timeline for the Lunar Outpost, and if we are going to contribute to Artemis 4 and Artemis 5 that are going in 2028, we just need to get to work. And for us, it's been 9 months since preliminary design review. And we had interim infrastructure task order contracts. We've been keeping ourselves busy with our 5 other missions, our DOW contracts. So we're not hurting for work, but truly at some point we just need to get the green light to go make this happen.
Yeah, that must be difficult. Like, we've got a lot of different sort of scenarios like this where we have these kind of new programs from NASA that are trying to, like, foment an industry that didn't really exist before. It's not like there's always been a market to go out and just buy a lunar rover, right? Like, this is sort of a new, it's sort of a new thing. A newish company, and we saw this with Clips a lot too, where it's just like these startups are trying to, like, make it, but they really, really depend on these kind of initial contracts to really grease the wheels and get things moving. So I hadn't really thought that through, but you're right. Like, every month of delay on the award is like just burn rate that you're going through, and you got to figure out kind of how to stand up the company in a more sustainable way, right?
Yeah, and for us, I think that's one of our strengths, honestly. At Lunar Outpost, we have 5 other missions going to the moon. We had our first rover that operated on the moon last year. Unfortunately, we didn't get a drive, but it operated. We got data back. We got data back from that whole transit as well. And then we have our second mission that's going to the moon this October. So that's Lunar Voyage 2 is what we call it. And that's going to Reiner Gamma, a magnetic anomaly that's been puzzling scientists for hundreds of years. So we're teamed up with Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory, and that is a NASA science mission, which we're extraordinarily excited about. Lunar Voyage 3, commercial mission that also has an International Space Agency on it. Lunar Voyage 4 is our rover, is what it's actually called, not Lunar Voyage 4. Rover is the Australian national flagship mission going to the moon. So that's out of our Melbourne office. And then Lunar Voyage 5 is Artemis 4 deployed instruments. So another NASA science mission with our MAPP rovers. That it's the first R2-D2, right? It's the first BB-8 in space. It's the first robot that's ever going to be working with an Artemis astronaut or any astronaut on the surface of another planetary body. So that's keeping us quite busy. Our team is very excited about that. And then our DOW contracts, we got a launch next month. I got another launch 12 months from now, mostly focused on satellite swarms and the software layer that connects those. And the reason we built that technology, the reason we invested in that technology, eventually we want that technology to not only power many satellites in LEO, we want that technology to power our swarms of rovers on the surface of the moon, to build the lunar outpost, to access the resources of space and access the energy that's available to enable heavy industry. So yes, there's burn rate. Yes, we have to, don't get me wrong, LTV is massive, right? Like, I'm not going to pretend like LTV is not a big contract, because it is a huge contract for us and would mean a lot for our business. But like, worst case scenario, if LTV evaporates, we're still business. We still have 5 rovers going to the moon. That's more than any other organization on Earth currently. CCP might have more that we don't know about. So just putting that in there with a grain of salt.
Yeah, that's good. Lots of irons in the fire. That's diversification, name of the game, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Can you tell us, like, a bit about sort of the Eagle design? Like, I'm curious to kind of know just like sort of an overview of high level design principles. Like, why did you choose to build it this way? What are some of the really interesting features that it has?
Yeah, so the Eagle lunar terrain vehicle, and we saw a video of it a little bit earlier, it's very much built to be a space truck. I mean, humanity has been optimizing vehicles for thousands of years here on Earth to do work at scale. And so when you start looking at the requirements for LTV, they're not that different from the requirements of a work truck here on Earth, except now you have to do it in a very extreme lunar environment, right? Negative 200 degrees Celsius to plus 200 degrees Celsius. Now you have to have direct to Earth communications. Now you need to survive not only radiation, but you have to be able to survive potential micrometeoroids. You have to be able to mitigate the lunar dust. So it's basically taking that form factor of a truck and making it well suited for the lunar surface. And the reason we ended up with this design is you need a design that enables commercialization. Like when Elon's out there tweeting about mass drivers on the moon and launching satellites and factories of satellites on the lunar surface, I love it. Like, absolutely, let's get after it. I think that is 100% possible in our spacefaring future. To do that, we need vehicles like the Eagle, though. If you look at our competitors, they both took very different approaches. We all took very different approaches, right? Not any one of these vehicles is the exact same. One is kind of a go-kart, go-kart strategy, kind of the bare minimum. or this is my interpretation. They might describe it differently. Another one
go-kart.
is
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I like the sharp elbows of go-kart. That's good.
yeah. It's I love go-karting, by the way. We did
no
that
offense,
as a company
go-karts,
event.
but
No, I actually do love go-karting. We hyper competitive company events at Lunar Outpost is what I'll say. We take that very seriously. But then the second one, it's highly complex, right? Like you're looking at all these different moving parts, pieces, and mechanisms, and NASA told us we need to provide them a 10-year service lifetime. So when you're looking at it, it's not really made for humans. It was originally a robotic platform. They just kind of threw humans on the back. It kind of looked like a Zamboni, and then they put humans on the front, and it's like a Zamboni in reverse. But it's like it's highly complex, which lends itself to be less reliable. That's my take. Again, they'll probably say the same thing about our architecture. But truly, we went for the space truck. We went for something that's highly reliable, that can do real industrial work on the lunar surface. So we have the ability to pick up and offload large cargo. We have the ability with the robotic arm that's on the back to manipulate not only science payloads, but move around bulk regolith on the surface of the moon. And then astronauts still get that, I would say, more truck-like feel that they're used to driving back here on Earth. So that's a little bit about our architecture without giving some of the competition-sensitive pieces away. But it's not only the hardware, it's the software, is what I will say. And then the last thing I'll say on the software, you have to not only be able to operate in this environment with astronauts and drive on the lunar surface, you have to be able to operate in this environment fully autonomously and fully robotically for about 70% of the time. So your rover needs to be quite capable in terms of its autonomous functionality and quite capable in terms of its ability to actually set up and maintain large-scale infrastructure. So that's been a big part of our focus as well.
That's probably got to be like an undersold or under-discussed part of this whole idea of like, you know, ongoing operations on the moon, because like here on Earth, an autonomous vehicle is like a nice to have, and there it's like square one. Like that's like your starting point, and it also just happens to be able to let a human take the wheel if they're there. But that's not going to be like the prime operating mode, right? And so it's kind of interesting to have to think about that, because that's got to change. I'm very curious to see how like that fundamental base requirement change, that bit flip between, you know, autonomous versus human, how that cascades down into the rest of the design, where it's just like, well, now this doesn't make sense, or this does make sense, or whatever reason, right? It's very interesting to see how those kind of play out. It's like a good evolution of ground transportation, you know, just in the grand scheme of human history, of moving down from feet to horses to cars, and now we got these things are going to be all different as well, right?
Yeah, and it's a pretty fun thought to kind of run down. I mean, you look at the Waymos right now, they're kind of like the electric Jaguars, and they have these lidars on top. You look at the Tesla Robotaxi, and it's kind of much more streamlined, like holistic package from the ground up. I think we're going to see different approaches on other planetary bodies as well. Ours is more, not necessarily like the sensor suite that we use, because you do need a different sensor suite for the lunar surface, but ours is more top up, built to operate autonomously and carry humans. And that's what makes it unique, right? I mean, you could look at the Mars Perseverance rover. You had a few companies testing out like path planning algorithms. You had JPL testing out autonomy. But that's definitely a lower level of autonomy than what we need. So you not only need high performant edge compute, you do need the ability to communicate back here with Earth and communicate with other assets on the lunar surface. So it's working with humans, working with robots, working with the key pieces of infrastructure, which makes it a whole heck of a lot of fun, because it's as it sits. And again, Jared Isaacman might know something I don't, but as it sits, LTV is central to the entirety of the Artemis campaign. So we got to be able to plug into the power, the VSATs that they're putting down. We need to be able to, interact with the habitat. Ideally, if the habitat runs out of power, just like, a Ford F-150 Lightning here on Earth or a Cybertruck, our LTV should be able to provide backup power to that habitat. So those types of interfaces, those types of interactions are completely novel and new, and candidly haven't really been thought about here on Earth. We're just starting to see it here on Earth, but now we need to do this in an extreme environment, which I do think we're going to see a lot of technology we develop for the moon brought back here to Earth because of it, because we have to solve these hard problems.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. So like we said, the autonomy is one kind of, parallel facet where we're doing the same thing on Earth, but now you're talking about, grid storage basically in the vehicle, which is a thing that's happening on Earth as well, but for different reasons. But yeah, there's different
my extreme environment
is
trying to hook up an EV to a house from the 1870s. That's a very extreme environment in my experience. So yes.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's,
I have a battery car with
not
a
made
house
for that.
that was built before electricity existed in houses. So that's fun to try to kludge together.
I'm wondering, Anthony, if you have it harder or if I do with the Mexican wiring standards here, where everything's just kind of electrical taped together and buried in the ground. So.
I was gonna say, yours will melt if left exposed to the sun down there. So I at least have that.
Yeah.
I was
Luckily,
looking around.
I think NASA's planning. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, NASA's not working with an 1870s or Mexican infrastructure
or Mexican electrical code.
No.
Yeah,
we have varying experiences.
NASA has significantly better technology.
I do think, though, in the light of this new workforce thing, that maybe Jared should bring me and Jake in as the ends of the electrical experience here on Earth that we could maybe apply to the lunar base.
Seems fair.
So
Seems fair. Yeah.
I think they'll need some consultants. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, boy. Do I have opinions about what kind of monitors I would put in the mission control on the moon after this conversation? So
Perfect, man. All right, I mean, what's better? Let me ask you this, Anthony. Like a nice 240 hertz monitor, or do you just want a nice big window on your lunar outpost to look out at your rovers?
Okay, so you
don't ask Anthony.
Perfect segue. Perfect. Yeah. Oh no, I'm not bringing that up. Perfect segue, because I was cruising around the sites of the varying competitors, right? And of everybody bidding, the Eagle is the most adaptable to a pressurized version, just in terms of its shape and layout. So, what's up? You building one? Where are we at on this? Where's the one with glass?
Very astute observation. I think that is fair. What I will say is our name's Lunar Outpost, right? Ever since we were founded back in 2017, we have been, I would say, laser focused on building technology and capabilities that allow us to sustainably put humans on the moon, and therefore use the infrastructure we're going to build up to access the energy and resources space has to offer. That's our vision. Our LTV is meant to be as modular, as capable as possible, without detracting from its baseline mission, right? So we are trying to commercialize this thing at scale. I have, I think, 70 letters of interest on LTV that we're ready to commercialize. We spent an insane amount of time on commercialization. I got banks lined up. I got investors lined up. People are excited about the LTV, and they're excited about where it can go. What we need is that anchor customer. And what NASA needs to do is show us that market pull of this is what we're looking for. And truly, if they say, hey, we don't want humans on there, great. You just take out the crew interfaces and crew systems, and you lower the safety factor from kind of that human rated safety factor that you carry for pressurized suited astronauts down to something more akin to what we've seen on other robotic rovers, and you save probably 1,000 kilograms, and you can send that up as a robotic only version. If they say, hey, we now want a pressurized rover to complement JAXA, we want a little mini pressurized rover, it can be enclosed. It's a lot of extra mass that would go into that. It's a lot of extra life support systems. I would rather see our lunar terrain vehicle be used for logistics to support outposts on the moon. We built this vehicle to support logistics. We built this vehicle to support infrastructure. If they want us to make it bigger and make a pressurized version, heck yeah, I'm here for it. But what we need from NASA is that initial anchor customer, clear market pull signal. And that's why we need the phase 2 of the LTV to be announced.
Remind me where you're based.
Golden, Colorado. Yeah. Okay. Have you been? Yeah. Either of you guys ski?
I've driven by Golden plenty of times. I love Colorado. Okay. Colorado's awesome. It's an ideal state in so many ways. No beach. No beach is the dinger for me. But yeah, we're coastal boys.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake didn't grow up a
yeah.
coastal boy, but he's adopted the coastal boy nature.
Jake, you're down in Mexico now?
Yeah. I'm in Yucatan, so I don't do the no beach or the snow thing anymore.
Yeah, fair enough. It's we have an office down in Houston, Texas. So, and I grew up in Houston, and I still got family down there. So in the winter, because I'm still a Texas boy at heart, I go down to Houston and I skip the snow. But I do love Colorado. It's just a pretty place.
Well, we do
then
have somebody in the chat trying to get hired in Australia as well. So I don't know who X-Wing 669 is, but if they end up getting a job, I want a finder's fee. That's all I'm saying.
I think that's fair.
Upload your resume to the chat. We'll run it by Justin in real time.
There you go, Anthony. I mean, that's our beach. That's our beach office. We're right in Melbourne, right next to the ocean. So we got a beach office too.
Love it. Can I ask about deployment? This is always something that comes up with the rovers. Like, do you have anything you can tell us, or anything you can share about how this thing gets from Colton, Colorado to the moon? That seems like an important part of the whole operation. So.
Pretty critical. Yeah, and what was kind of fun, and I think what was commercially enabling on the LTVS side, they not only allowed us to procure the rover, but they allowed us to procure the landing, the communication satellites, the ground stations, everything else that went into it. So for us, as a company that's tried to bring a lot of that in-house and then form strong strategic partners elsewhere, it really was a good fit for that program. Now, our first rover for LTV is actually going down on a SpaceX Starship. Now, that was announced, I believe, about a year ago. We love working with the SpaceX team. I don't know if either of you guys have seen SpaceX Starship in person, but watching that thing come down, it's like a 20-story building. V3 is going to be even bigger. It's like 30, 40 stories. But watching that thing come down and get caught in the chopsticks for the first time is one of the top 10 coolest technological moments of my life. It was awesome. And you felt it too. You're across the water, you absolutely felt it. So have you guys seen a Starship launch yet?
Not yet.
No.
I'm in the great dilemma right now in which I had active plans to bring. I have two small boys, 5 and 18 months. And I was like, we're going to the next launch. Me and the boys. We're gonna go hang out for a week, hang out on the beach. And then SpaceX has moved into a position where they're very likely launching in early April out of what would effectively be me staying in South Padre Island, which if anybody understands spring break culture in South Padre Island, I'm not sure I should bring a 5-year-old and 18-month-old to this location and watch a space launch. So now I don't know what to do, Justin. So
fair enough, Anthony.
I need to get. I just shout out anyone at SpaceX if you can get me and 2 small boys into your cool spot to watch it that's not on the beach. That would be great. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's it's a fun experience. It really is. It's a good time. And then we've made the rover so it can launch and land on really any new platform coming up, whether it's launch or landers. So we can land on Blue Origin's Blue Moon. We can land on any of the medium class, infrastructure class landers we're starting to see come out of the Eclipse program. And then we can obviously land on both HLSs. And that's part of that modularity I talked about with LTV. Like, the more capabilities, you just, if you want a longer range, you can throw in some more batteries. If you want lower mass, you can just take out a few batteries. Whatever mission profile or specific you're trying to fit, we don't want to change it too much. Like, it should be 90 to 95% the same always, so we can actually have a production line with this rover. But when you're talking about mission specific capabilities for science or exploration purposes, those are the types of mission profiles we can fit. So basically from Colorado, we put it in a giant truck. We ship it down to Huntsville, Alabama, and Johnson Space Center, depending on the rover, depending on the timeline, whether it's robotic or human spaceflight rated. We go through full qualification. Then we ship it out to the lander integration facility. It actually gets put in place. And all of these landers have different deployment mechanisms. Obviously, I probably can't talk about their specific deployment mechanisms, but you can use your kind of general imagination how a rover would be deployed off these landers. It's not that different to how humans would be deployed off or how large cargo would be deployed off, if you want to look up those graphics.
Ramps, cranes, and elevators. Yeah.
Ramps, cranes, and elevators. Exactly. Yep.
Well, one thing I'm curious about on that though is like, do you see, if the abundance mentality takes hold and there's lots and lots, to paraphrase Jared Isaacman, lots and lots of lunar rovers, is there like a standardization that we should seek in terms of wheelbase and spacing so that there is a more standardized ramp? Like I think of this like driving through a car wash, right? Like I'm not worried that my car is going to fit through the car wash that I'm about to enter. They have tracks that will fit all the cars that will enter this car wash. The landers thus far seem to be like, well, this one was built for Griffin, and then it seems like Astrolab, theirs fits well enough on that ramp. But do we have to go through some sort of standardization to make this stuff plug and play so that we can see a really cool future where everybody's able to fly on anything?
I think so, Anthony. I think that's a very good point, and I think that's a point that needs to be hammered home. NASA has done a great job of this in the LEO economy with CubeSats, with how we integrate onto these launch providers.
Docking ports.
And that worked. Docking ports.
One, right?
That worked phenomenally for not only the International Space Station, ESPA rings, and the launch providers and the LEO economy. NASA should absolutely 100% do the same thing for the moon. What I will say, and my pitch to NASA, if anyone from NASA is listening to this, don't make the wheelbase narrow. You do not want your rover tipping over, especially when you're traveling 15 to 20 kilometers per hour. You have to have a nice stanced wheelbase. You have to have your weight distribution proper. You have to have your center of gravity, your driving dynamics. And one thing we were pretty fortunate on our first kind of like foray into LTV to have was General Motors on the driving dynamics side. They have this entire facility that you can actually set your vehicle down in, and you can feel and experience the live driving dynamics. And NASA has created the same capability at Johnson Space Center. So I do think that's going to be a big part of how astronauts train for this mission. But one thing that I think our vehicle has a pretty massive, not minor, but like pretty massive competitive advantage over the competition on is driving dynamics. When you're an astronaut on the moon and you're going, you're 100,000 kilometers, a couple 100,000 kilometers away from Earth, you don't want to experience jolts. You don't want to experience shocks. When you hit these small craters, when you're going up and down into these permanently shattered regions, if NASA allows astronauts to do that, or if you're hitting boulders or rocks along the way, you want the suspension to be able to absorb that. So that means you have to have your vehicle at least a certain distance off the ground. You have to have a pretty soft suspension, and you need to be able to kind of absorb a lot of those shocks along the way. So with that being said, that's probably more information than you are asking for. So I apologize, but hopefully that gives you a few ideas on how we should standardize. Like we should standardize driving dynamics and wheelbase and center of gravity.
I'm now like remembering that meme that's been going around for a long time that traces the width of the space shuttle booster right back to like Roman roads, because like they established some standard for like all horses this wide, and then you make the wheels go in the ruts, and then the ruts became train tracks, and the train track had to transport the booster, and there we go. So now we have the Romans decided how wide the shuttle boosters were. We should just continue that on. Like, why don't we just put that standard right up on the ramps and the wheelbase? Like, what's seems
Roman
like we should
chariot. Roman chariot is probably a little bit narrow, but
narrow.
But
I
do ask that like kind of seriously though, right? Like, what is there anything about the environment that would say that like an Earth-sized wheelbase that I would have in a regular pickup truck is not good enough? Like, is there any physics differences that would drive a change there, or because that is kind of standardized? We're used to that. Like, that's like still great where one astronaut can climb up on each side and they can sit in tandem and drive the thing away. It's like it's a good size, right?
Yeah, there are a few things that drive it to be a bit wider than anything you'll have here on Earth. So you can't take a GM electric Hummer truck and just copy paste it on the moon. You can't take a Tesla Cybertruck or a Ford F-150 Lightning. Astronauts have these giant spacesuits, right? Like these giant spacesuits, and they're large for a reason. They're spacecraft in and of their own right. They have the PLIS on the back, the life support. And with that being said, now you are facing the constraint of two astronauts that you need to have in this vehicle. That's a requirement by NASA. and then you're facing the constraints on the other side of the rocket fairings you can actually fit in. So if you want to take the approach like we did at Lunar Outpost to fit in these rocket fairings, it does get you that maximum width where the suits kind of set the minimum width. And with that, you also want the astronauts to be comfortable if they're driving for long periods of time. So the seats need to have like some level of comfort and design to them, which is something I think ours are quite comfortable. You can sit in those things for 8-10 hours at a time. I've done it myself. I've gone down to our test ranch. It's 1,000 acres in southern Colorado, whipped this thing around for hours because we wanted to know how it felt. You could try to stand up on these rovers. I think it's a terrible idea. You could do it if you're going like 3 kilometers per hour max. But the moment you start going any faster than that, you actually look at the requirements for the Lunar Terrain Vehicle program, you're talking about like 15 kilometers per hour up to 20 kilometers per hour. Can you imagine being in 1/6 G, driving at 15 to 20 kilometers per hour, standing up, and then it's like, oh, I hit a bump, I got to come back down. Like it's not a good idea when you're going those speeds. So that is kind of the constraints that you're working with in the LTV program. You have to fit in a rocket fairing, but you need to be wide enough so you don't tip over. You have to be wide enough so you can fit the 2 astronauts. But then you also need to be safe. You have to be safe, reliable, consistent, and you have to have good, comfortable driving dynamics for astronauts on the moon.
Yeah,
and feel free to argue with me if you guys don't.
All I was going to say is you would stand up if you were driving on this thing. You'd stand up for a minute and see what it's like. Don't lie to me.
You know what we did, Anthony? We went to so my family has a ranch in southern Colorado. My parents were very kind. They let me dig up many acres in their front yard to like dig a test track. When we were thinking about this architecture, we took one of our electric ATVs and I put on a crash helmet. And AJ, my CTO, put on another crash helmet. He was my driver. I stood up in the back of that electric ATV. And I was like, all right, we're going to do this 2 ways. One, you're going to drive 3 kilometers per hour, then we're going to go 5 kilometers per hour, then 10, then 15. Like it was a scientific test while we were having some fun. And then I did it sitting. How many energy
drinks in were you? How many bings?
How many bings?
No bings. You know what? Maybe like that was a high enough adrenaline day. It was a heck of a lot of fun. But maybe like one bing. Maybe one bing, Anthony.
Single bing.
Yeah, maybe one bing that day.
A single bing.
Single bing. Yeah. But what it comes down to is like we did that sitting up or standing up. We did that sitting down. And standing up, I'll tell you, even here on Earth, in Earth gravity, which is 6 times stronger than lunar gravity, that is a tough prospect to sell. And he went 15 kilometers per hour, and I was starting to gain a little bit of jump on this vehicle, trying to stand up while we were driving through this, and that's in Earth gravity. Now imagine trying to do that on the moon. It's just a bad idea. Like if you cap it, if the stand-up mode is capped at like a couple of kilometers per hour, that's totally fine. But truly for a vehicle that's going to travel fast, high rate mobility is what NASA calls it on the lunar surface, you have to have at least a mode where they can sit down and be safe. It was fun. It was a blast. If you guys ever come out to the ranch, we'll put you on the ATV and we'll let you do the test.
For sure. Yeah, I'm not going to lie and say that I'd never looked sideways on Mission Space when Disney told me not to look sideways. I did that. I saw what happens. It's a terrible idea. I wouldn't do it again, but I would stand up on a lunar rover. That's all I'm saying.
You can accommodate that, right? Like you can still stand up and drive ours. It's just I don't recommend it past a certain speed limit. That's what I'll say for safety purposes.
What kind of like navigational affordances are we thinking about for these kind of rovers? Like I'm thinking like cockpit experience, right? What do I got in front of me when I'm trying to nav? Is this all visual, or is there some semblance of a nav, a GPS system? What kind of thing should I think about?
That's a very good question. It's a little different than what you would see here on Earth. Like you don't have GPS, but what we've tried to do is simplify the screens to be as like limited information as possible and only critical information, because what you don't want to do, again, you're an astronaut, you're a couple 100,000 kilometers away from Earth, you're performing a mission. If you're driving this thing, you don't want to have the astronauts have to think about 20 or 30 different things at a time. So the control setup is actually quite simple. It's a stick that goes forward, back, left, right. You can switch it into 0-point turns. You can do that. You can switch it into crab mode. You can do that. But the screen that you actually see is very similar to modern day cars here on Earth, just with a lunar twist. So it's very clean.
CarPlay.
It shows.
Listen to podcasts when you're on the moon. Can we get this promise right now that you can listen to Off-Nominal on the moon?
Oh man, I think I might have to charge you guys for that.
Yeah, let's get the RSS feed built right in.
Perfect. I love it. Off-Nominal live from the moon, man. That's perfect. It's hey, Juventus is the first football club on the moon. It was awesome to see the fan base engaged. Like one Instagram post they put out had like 20 million views, like one video about the mission. And that's a rover of this size, right? Like we had partnered with Juventus, we partnered with Lego, we partnered with MIT, we partnered with a dozen other companies that procured commercial mobility services for us on the moon. And that was our first MAPP rover. So imagine what you can do on LTV. You can have podcasts from the moon. You can do live streaming from the moon. Hey, man, if you want, you could do your first F1 race from the moon. It does not matter. The sky is the limit. What matters is making sure NASA has the safe, reliable mobility for astronauts, and we can set up the moon base. Everything else is open. I mean, within reason, but everything else is open.
Official radio of
Love
the
it.
moon, Jake.
We need it.
All right, I cut you off, though, on an interesting part, which is what I want to know is astronaut gets in rover. What do they have on the display? They got waypoints. They've got like where the lander was and points of interest. What are we looking at?
More or less, you have the points of interest, where you landed. You have your moon base clearly identified, so they can say, hey, take me home or anything like that, or take me back to the lander, depending on which mission it is, which mission profile. You do have other points of interest, like large craters clearly identified. On the screen, it actually shows all the hazards within the next couple hundred meters that the robotic system is tracking. So not only like, hey, here's something visual for the astronaut, but if autonomous like hazard avoidance has to kick in, it shows you kind of what it's detecting. So I would say, like I said, imagine you get in your electric cars. I don't know what electric cars you guys have, but it's that with a lunar twist, just one level deeper with those points of interest. And you do have some of those kind of critical, I would say, human factors, characteristics that you need, and we can tie into the suits if they allow us to. So that is something that if they want like suit data on the screen, we're more than happy to make that a reality, but that would have to come from NASA and the suit providers to provide us that API to get that data. So we'd love to do that, and we think that would also be like a safe and responsible thing to do, so astronauts know what's going on with their life support systems and the spacesuits more broadly.
Yeah, that seems
and then
reasonable.
You can pump into the audio for the Off-Nominal feed.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. I guess I got to hit up Axiom also. I'm realizing now. Can't just
I think you need to hit
blast
up
it out
Axiom.
that's an Axiom thing, not a you thing, huh?
Yeah. Hey, man, if they give us an audio feed to their suits, we'll take it.
One of us is joking, and it's not me. So.
One of us is joking.
Hey, audio is pretty useful.
Pretty
useful overall. Yeah.
I'm going to send you the resume that I'm getting in the email from X-Wing 669, and then I'm going to send you some info on what we should hook up here, because this sounds great.
Awesome. And I didn't answer X-Wing 669's comment, so I apologize. We are hiring in Australia. Yes. So we are hiring in Australia. We are hiring in our European office in Luxembourg. And then our global headquarters, obviously, is here in America in Golden, Colorado. And then we have our human spaceflight headquarters down in Houston, Texas. So we're hiring in all 4 locations.
All right. Jobs are available, folks.
If you want to work on space trucks, we'd love to have you.
Space trucks.
I'm pulling up your careers page, and I see the audio integration engineer is listed as a job post.
That's false. That's definitely false. That is fake news.
Well, worth a shot,
NASA's gonna hear that, and they're gonna be like, we didn't tell you could get integrated audio. And it's like, I probably
Jared's been on some of our shows, so we'll make this happen.
Yeah.
All right, good. I'm glad to hear it.
But John Krause is a friend. We're gonna make this happen. So
Yeah,
Awesome.
there we go.
Awesome. Yeah.
Cool. Well, this
This
sounds
was
awesome.
great.
So I'm excited. Yeah.
the LTV thing is really interesting to me because when you look at, I pulled up the imagery of everybody's rover earlier, and it is the most diverse of all of these contracts that NASA has run so far. That like you said, truly everybody had a different idea of what sort of configuration they should go in with, and all the other ones kind of converged on similar design aesthetics or design emphasis in a way that LTV had a lot more variability. Like spacesuit, they all look like spacesuits. Shocker. They look like a human. You know, cargo vehicles to the ISS. Yeah, it's a docking port and a bunch of space to put stuff. This one has the most interesting, decisions about where the person sits and what kind of stuff it carries and how those are packaged and what are the affordances for people getting them on and off the rover. So it truly is, like, I think the most interesting of the competitively sourced proposals from NASA. And then the last couple of weeks, I feel like, have only made this more of a thing that needs to happen, considering the fact that they are just like not only unlocking a lot of budget for the lunar surface, but doubling down on frequency of flights and trying to get to the lunar surface more. So I don't know. It's been a weird couple of months for the LTV contract, but I feel like it shook out in a really good direction overall.
Yeah, I honestly think it's heading there. I think it's heading in the right direction. And if I had a quick pitch to Jared, it would be, hey, LTV is ready to go. You got 3 competitors, you got 3 vehicles. Let's get them funded and let's get them going to the moon. Just in terms of mobility and capabilities that we can put down on the surface, like, we can move pretty quickly. Like at Lunar Outpost, we've made flight rovers within 12 months. For one of our DoD contracts, like our team, we looked at procuring a satellite bus, and it was like at 18 months, 24-month lead time. And so all we did was take our MAPP rover, take the wheels off, and like, oh, great, we have a satellite bus. You know what I mean? Like, granted, like,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's like,
It's all just compute, baby.
It's all the same pieces. It's all the same parts. It's all the same components. I think the most important thing, and my pitch to Jared, is NASA needs to be a good customer. And being a good customer means clearly communicating. Being a good customer means clearly defined timelines. And if they can do that, there is no doubt myself and many other entrepreneurs in the space field can go attract massive amounts of capital to support Administrator Isaacman's vision and President Trump's vision for the lunar surface. Because I love what those guys are doing. Like the executive order in December, President Trump, fantastic. That was phenomenal. Like, let's get an outpost on the moon by 2030. That is music to my ears. And what Administrator Isaacman is saying about landings in 2028, multiple landings on 2028, perfect. Let's put an LTV on one of those. Let's get multiple LTVs the next year. Let's get after it. So that's my quick pitch, how NASA can be a good partner to commercial industry.
All right. He's probably
What's that,
listening.
Jake?
That's my guess.
Seems likely.
I assume.
He's not that busy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much going on.
He's not
so-
doing every interview ever. So Jake's rocking the Artemis shirt today too, huh?
I am, yeah. I thought I'd
Dust
show
it
a
off.
little love.
You got over the whole America thing.
Nice.
After the gold medal. So that was quick.
I had a sore day, and then I've realized there's bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, we just we throw a Canadian on the first mission around the moon, and there you have it. All's
There
absolved.
you go.
So
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Justin, this was awesome. Love talking to you guys. It's such an interesting time. So we appreciate hanging out, and hopefully post announcement, maybe we get you guys back on to talk however everything shakes out.
Yeah, I'd love to come back, ideally in a celebratory mood. And maybe the next drink you'll see me have is not a Bing, but a drink. It's at that point I'd have to be outside of Mission Control Center, though. Strict no alcohol policy in here.
We'll get a Bing
From the
party
ranch.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the ranch. We'll fly out and we'll stand
Wow.
up on the rovers and drink some Bings.
No drinking Bings. Yes, no drinking and driving on the moon.
No.
I'm pretty sure I have
strictly
to.
Definitely not.
We'll have you can be the designated driver.
Not a
I
rule
think
on the
that
moon
will
yet, I don't think. I don't think that's a law on the moon, for the record. So
Still probably a bad idea.
Is that in the outer space
there's,
treaty? I don't know.
There's certain things that just fall into the category of like maybe not a law, but
Shouldn't.
like bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the one
I'm gonna go
car
ahead
on
and say
this
that one's in
planetary
that
body.
category.
Let's not screw this one car up.
No,
On the other hand, though, like
Not
who are
at
you
all.
gonna hit? You know.
It's true. That's a great point.
yeah, there's pretty
All
deep
right.
craters out there. Yeah, it's but anyway, no, I really appreciate your guys' time. Fun conversation. Honestly, awesome to talk to you guys. Like I said, hopefully LTV we hear back in the next couple weeks, and next conversation's a little bit more of a celebration.
Heck yeah, man.
Cool.
Jake, do we know what's happening next week? I don't think we know what's happening next week.
I don't think so, but I'm
Things have
assuming
been
it's going to end
chaotic.
up being. I think it's going to be an Artemis conversation. We'll see.
Jeez. I feel like we put a moratorium on like let's book more guests for a little bit until everything shakes out.
yeah. It's been a little. Yeah.
My guess is there are some of our writer friends that have stories coming out in the next week that we might want to talk to them about, and
that may happen.
we feel ripe for a texting Eric Berger on a Wednesday. Do you want to come talk to us tomorrow? This feels like we're in that territory. So expect a text, Eric. All right, y'all. We'll see you later. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks,
Awesome.
Justin.
See ya. Thank you.